Hello my friends, this is Marta and welcome at my YouTube channel. Today I'm coming with a super exciting project for you, and I'm just gonna be making a card using this Simply Cards and Papercraft newspaper magazine, which I found in a store when I finished my shift. I was going home, and on my way, when I'm walking out the store, I usually check the crafting magazine shelf, and I know I shouldn't do that because I've got too many magazines, but when I spot it, I just have to buy it. I just love there's a stencil and a stamps, and I'll be just unpacking it in a second. On one of my last videos, I also showed you that I have this wow embossing powders. They just come through. When I was recording a video, the postman has ring the bell, so I just went downstairs and I've got these 2 jars of the embossing. I ordered it because I was out of a silver, and I just thought, like, you cannot go wrong with a clear embossing, so I ordered 2 of them. I also have gold and clear sparkle on hand, so I just thought, why not make something from the embossing powders? And I was thinking of making a video with embossing powders, and then today I've spotted this paper, this magazine, and it's absolutely amazing. I've started opening the bag, but I just thought I'll do it on the camera, under the camera, so you could see there's no cheat. This is my first view on the magazine, and you can check your stores because it's definitely worth it. There's a package with the stencil and stamps and some papers. I'm just gonna look through them for a second, and the magazine full of the inspirations. And if it's not in your store, you can also check online, because the magazine is definitely available at the craft stash, so have a look and check over there as well. And this is the gorgeous stamp. I love flower stamp, and I especially love turning stamps into like dimensional flowers, so I'll definitely gonna make a few of dimensional flowers, maybe not today but on another occasion. But I was really excited about this stencil, because the second I've noticed, I want to make a card with it. And as a bonus, you've got this gorgeous purple. Oh my gosh, look on that, this fern. I love it. I absolutely love it. Oh, and this violet, and oh, they're lovely. The papers are absolutely, oh, this is nice. I like this mint color. Check this one out. Love it. I absolutely adore. The only one trouble for me with this double-sided papers is that I'm always struggling to choose which one side, because I like them both, but the papers are lovely. So without any further ado, I'm just gonna jump into my video, and I'll probably speed up the whole process. I'll just quickly tell you that I'm planning to use some stencil and some embossing powders. Apart from the embossing powders, I also have a couple of the distress inks. Well, this is my whole collection. I've only have 4 colors of the distress ink for now. However, and then here's another thing I want to share with you. I recently subscribed to a creative stamping magazine as well, and I will have that one coming to my house regularly. And the offer I choose, it was a bonus. When you subscribe, you will get some free distress oxide inks along with that. So check your offers in the newspaper, in your magazines, because sometimes you can have the fantastic deal. Plus, having a subscription, it gets you like your doorway every single month, and without any hassle. You don't have to worry that the magazine is sold out or something. So I'm definitely looking forward for the creative stamping magazine coming to my house, and I'll be definitely making videos of that ones as well. I also have some Nouveau embellishment mousse, and this is the mousse I won on the craft award to be chosen crafter of the week, so I'm gonna be using those one as well. And I have couple others green embossing powders. One is from Stampin' Stuff and one is from Stampedius. I've got these 2 as a present, so I'm not sure where you can buy them. Well, Stampedius, I think I'm not sure. I'll have to have a look, because that one says it's made in USA, and are they being sold here? I don't really know. I've got it as a present, so I'm just gonna have a play with them. And I've got the black ink as well. So this is my supplies, and I also have the brick stencil to use along with that one as well. I'll speed up the rest of the video, and I hope you will enjoy it. I'm using a piece of the kitchen sponge to dab it through my stencil, and what you can see, I have this little piece of scrap paper on the side because this distressed ink is very juicy, and I don't want the pattern to be like overwhelming, so I'm just dabbing the excess of the ink on the piece of scrap paper, and then I'm just using it on my front panel. I also wanted to do some stamping. However, those little stamps, the signs on them, they were really visible, like you could distinguish what they say, and I wanted something to be more like a blurred effect. But I remind myself that one from my last videos, I was using this gorgeous snowdrop set, which also comes from the same magazine, Simply Cards and Papercraft, and I've reached for that stamp, and I've decided to add a couple of bits as well, and I'm using a second generation stamping because I also want it to be kinda melt through the background. I'm gonna be using one of my handmade sprays. I will link a video somewhere on the upper corner. And as you can see, I am just slightly very light spray through that stencil as well, and that also gives additional effect of that brick on the whole panel, and that way I have my background piece almost ready. I will be adding a little bit extra later on, but this is generally how my background will look like. Now it's time to start preparing a little elements for my card. I'm starting from the jar, and I've decided to use some masking tape just to help me to just, you know, have this jar separated, because I will be stamping and embossing it with a different color embossing powder than the rest of these elements. And at first I'm gonna be using silver embossing powder. However, once I melt the powder, the jar was a little bit too silvery for my taste. I want to have something a little bit muted. So what I will show you in a second is that once you have your silver embossing powder melted and you cover it with additional layer of the clear embossing powder, this will change the entire look of the embossing powder. Instead of staying silver as it is, you know, normally the silver embossing powder, once you put the clear embossing powder, and here you can see mine didn't stick very well because it was already kind of dry, so I quickly brush it off. And what I did, I used the same stencil once again, and a little bit of this embossing ink. I just added to the sponge, and I gently dab it over it, and then I cover it with the clear embossing powder once again. And once I melt it, the silver embossing powder is no longer silver. It just gives that effect of the metal tin. It's still shiny, but it's not silver. It's more like a gray color tone. Just in a second I will make another one again from the silver embossing powder, because I want to for you to have a comparison how they both looks like. So as you can see, I am just repeating the whole process. I will just add silver embossing powder and nothing else. I will melt it, and then I will show you a little bit how how adding the clear embossing powder has actually changed the look of the silver one. Now I change my masking tape and I add it to the jar, so I will start working on my leaves. I will be using this little piece of a kitchen sponge with this embossing ink on it, and I will add it to my card, and then I will be using some green color embossing powders. I have a few, as I've told you in the beginning of the video, and I also use additional embossing powder. One was from the Ranger in color of the fern green, and the other one is from Paperbox, and it's called Green Sparkle. And one thing I want to say, if you don't have the whole range of the different green color embossing powders like me, but you would like to do a similar thing, you can really switch the embossing powder for a different color inks. You just use your stencil with the ink pads or paint or whatever medium you want, and then you can cover it with the clear embossing powder instead, and you will still have this lovely embossed look. And if you'd like to recreate this green sparkle embossing powder, which's got the glitter in it, you just have to mix a little bit of your clear embossing powder with the glitter, and you will still be able to achieve this glittery look. So I've made myself quite a few of those leaves, and I used 3 different shades of the embossing powders. One is very dark green, the other one is olive, and the last one is with this lovely glitter in it, and it's very sparkly. Now I will be working on my flowers. For a change, I've decided to play with one of the products I also have from the craft world. When I was chosen to be crafter of the week, I had this lovely prize which I could go onto the craft stash and choose whatever I want to. So I've decided to go with the few products I never try, and one of them was actually the Cosmic Shimmer product, which is called Opal Blaze Polish, and it's got this beautiful like a pink blueberry shade. And this thing, it's work like a wax. You actually apply it on top of the paper. However, it's so lovely that it actually gives you a totally different result when it's used on a white cardstock, and this absolutely amazing shiny purple effect when it's used against the black cardstock. And this is what I'm doing here. I've decided to use my flowers to make my flowers on the black cardstock. So I'm taking my finger and I'm just slightly putting a little bit of that opal blaze polish on the cardstock in the area where I know where my flowers will be, and then I will emboss it with the golden embossing powder. You can't really see so much shininess which comes from this glaze from this polish. I absolutely love it. But at the end of the video I have a couple photos, and then you could really see how shiny it actually looks like. I absolutely love it, and I'm so happy for choosing this product, and I will be definitely looking to buy more, because I've seen on a craft stash when I was looking for the products I want to, I've seen they also have few other shades, and I will be definitely, it's one of my favorite discoveries for the past month. I absolutely love it. So I embossed those flowers in a golden embossing powder, and now I am fussy cutting them. And one thing I want to say is that cutting the embossed images is very easy, and it's even easier than cutting out the stamped one. And this is because the embossing powder gives you that raised edge. So whenever you're thinking of doing some fussy cutting, I really recommend you to use even like a clear embossing powder, because that way you've got the raised edge and it's very easy to follow your scissors. Now I will be working on my sentiment, and here's the most amazing thing I want to tell you about. When I was looking on this paper magazine and the shop floor, I haven't seen all of the stamps because part of them was actually covered with the foil and all the sign up front of the magazine. But when I unpack it, I noticed that one of the sentiments, which I'm actually using on this card, and I love it so much, it says sending good healthy vibes your way. And here's most amazing thing: when I joined the craft world, I started a group there which says Good Vibes Craft. So having a sentiment in a magazine which says good vibes, actually something which really touched my heart, and I absolutely love it, that stamp set, and I'm sure I will be reaching for it more and more often. I've decided to make one more flowers, to have it 3, because for some reason I just like to have an even number. So whenever I do something, and I probably mentioned that before, I always use like 3, 5 or 7 elements. Now I am working on the sentiment strip, and I will just cut a little bit under the angle, and that way the sentiment will also work as a shelf for my jar, so that way it's not gonna be floating like on the air. It will just have some ground to it. I am also using this opal blaze polish to just enhance the edges of the sentiment, and I will be using it on this black matte layer which I cut myself before, and I will place it underneath the blue panel. And I am so impressed with this little jar, because it's absolutely amazing. I just cannot have it enough, and I will definitely use it more often in other card making or mixed media projects. So I'm just gently patting the edges of this black matte piece, and I'm just using a teeny tiny bit on the edges because no one will see what's beneath the front panel. So that way I'm not gonna wasting too much product as well. Last thing I wanted to use, which I forgot to do it in front, I have this Nouveau embellishment mousse, and I just want to add it for additional interest. But this time, for like on few of my other videos, I was using my spatula to actually put it through the stencil, and that way it was used as embellishment, like a texture paste. But this time I'm actually adding the product through the stencil with the help of the kitchen sponge, and it gives it a totally different look. And this is another way you can use this mousse, and that way it stretch your product, because it's not only works as a texture paste, but it could be used like some ink as well. And it's got this lovely like a blue teal color, and I also use it on the edges as well, so it really framed the panel nice way. I've made myself A5 size card base from the linen cardstock. I also used the same linen cardstock for my front panel. It's very hard to see it on the camera, but on the final photos you will see that this linen card is really add additional texture to all the stenciling I did on my front panel. I use a little bit of the gold string to add it to my jar, and that way I also have this additional interest to the card. I will be attaching my sentiment in the jar with the help of the foam tape, and then I use my hot glue gun to attach all the flower arrangement. I'm really happy from how this card turned out, because it's got so much shine from the embossing and this polish, and it's absolutely amazing. And I'm really happy for having this opportunity, that I found this magazine on a shelf, and it's absolutely amazing. I love the stamps, I love the sentiments, and I really enjoy having the stencil. I hope you enjoyed my video, because we're nearly reaching to the end. So I just want to say that I'm hoping that you were having a fun watching me making that card, and it's something like different. Instead of using stamps, we use the stencil to actually make those leaves, and I'm hoping this is something like you would like to have a try and give a go as well. And if you do, please don't forget to just let me know, and maybe like send me a link for your photos, whatever you're on a craft world or Instagram or a Facebook. Just give me a link to your social media. I really want to see your work, and your ideas for making similar cards and thing projects. And in the same way, if you are making any YouTube videos, please leave me a link in the comment section below, and I will be so happy to, go on your channel and have a look as well, because I love to see work of others and get some inspiration for myself as well. At the end of the day, we all here learn one from another. So if you would like me to have a look on your channel, plus just let me know, just write in the comment, and I would love to do that. Thank you so much for being here and for surviving through all this video. I hope I didn't get you tired with all my chit chat. Let me know if I'm talking too much or any other ideas if you have for a card and you would like to see it. Finally, one more thing I'm gonna be adding to the card. Last minute I remember myself, I have this lovely embellishment. I've bought them on some sale ages ago, and they were down to like 50 pences or something. It's like this metal effect little like embellishments. I don't even know how to call them, but they have this glue strip on it. It's like a one long string, so I just cut it separately, each little circle, and I'm adding 3 of them to each flower center, and that way it's really gives this additional interest to the card. And because it's gold, same as the gold embossing I use for the flower, it really looks nicely. And last but not least, I really like to finish my cards with the help of the Nuvo drops. I have a few different shades of them, but the one I choose for this card today, it's actually glitter drops in a shade of the silver moon dust. I will make a post on my blog and at the same time on the craft world, and I will add all the list of supplies for this card. So here is my lovely sparkly card made from this wildflower stencil from Simply Cards and Papercraft magazine. This is issue 204, which is on a sale just now. I hope you enjoyed my video, and I wish you all a wonderful day. Stay blessed, Marta.